Everyone's talking about how expensive property prices are at this point in time. So in this video, we're going to compare every single council across Southeast Queensland and what 700K will buy you in each of these local government areas. So let's see together what you really get for your money when you've got a $700,000 budget. And as you can see all around me, we've got 6 different local governments to assess in this video. In the top corner here, we've got Brisbane, then we've got Logan, we've got Ipswich, Redlands, the Gold Coast, and Moreton Bay Council as well. Before we go any further, we need to lay some ground rules together. And these are that we have a limit of $700,000 to spend in each of these councils. The deal we're looking at must have sold in the last 3 months, so it needs to be recent as we can find. And it needs to be that same budget across each of these different councils. So now we've got the ground rules out of the way, let's start unpacking these deals. Behind council number 1, we have the Gold Coast, and there's this 1-bedroom apartment. You can see it's a very small floor plan here in the bottom corner with a little outdoor entertaining area, quite cramped kitchen and living space, a small bedroom and a study off to the side. I mean, this could be considered a second bedroom with an ensuite and walk-in robe. So we're living in luxury on the Gold Coast in this 1/2 bedroom apartment. Now, the size of this apartment is around 86 square meters, which you can see in this bottom corner here, including the entertaining area. But this is in a nice location known as Robina and in quite a nice complex with a gym, a pool, all the amenities around you. And so that's what people are willing to pay for. Now, if I had $700,000 to spend myself and I was looking to use my money well, I wouldn't be buying this type of deal based on the other options we're going to look at, because you are paying for a smaller floor plan, lack of land component, and a lot of amenity that's going to be costly to maintain through the strata fees over the long term. Now, the address of this property is 61 Investigator Drive, and this is unit 4508. And it sold for exactly $700,000 on the 23rd of July, 2025. Let's go take a look at the next deal. We've driven up the motorway and we've moved our way into Brisbane, and now we're buying a genuine brick 2-bed, 1-bathroom unit. This is far more my style if you're looking to buy a good quality unit. There's no swimming pools, there's no fancy gyms, there's not much oversupply, and you're getting larger land component. This deal sold for exactly $700,000 on the 7th of August 2025 in a suburb not far away from myself, known as Cooperoo. The address of this property is 3/90 French Street. And this is the kind of deal that I would be more recommending if you are wanting to spend your $700K on buying an apartment. In saying that, you do have less land component than a townhouse or a house, so you've got to see what other options are out there comparing to this Brisbane style of deal. Now we've moved over to Redlands City Council on the south side of Brisbane. And with your $700,000, you can buy a 3-bedroom, 1-bathroom townhouse, which is a low-set brick and tile property. This is located at 24/107 Killarney Crescent in Capella and sold for exactly $700,000 on the 22nd of July, 2025. Now, you are getting the Redlands City Council Bayside lifestyle by being in this Capella location, but for my money, there's other options out there where you could get more land component and have more upside potential. But a low set, brick and tile townhouse is a solid deal if you did want to break into the townhouse market with this $700,000 budget. Now we're going north of Brisbane City, heading into the Moreton Bay region, and this property is located in Caboolture. It's on a minuscule 250 square meter block, but you can see it's a modern style build with modern kitchens, modern fixtures and fittings, a nice driveway, a nice concrete letterbox. It's a very modern cookie cutter, specky builder style property, but lots of people love to own these types of homes and rent them as well. One of the good things about this deal is it is a 3-bedroom, 2-bathroom home with the 1-car space. And the property sold for $700,000 on the 1st of August 2025. The biggest attractor for me is the 250 square meter block. There's not that much difference in land size between this property in Caboolture, in Moreton Bay, comparing to the Capella townhouse in Redlands City Council. Both of them as townhouses, or this is a detached house, have smaller land components, which means lower land size, lower upside potential, and no ability to add value or knock down, rebuild, or do something with the block down the track. And so again, for my money, looking at the deals we've looked at in the past, yes, we're getting some more land component, but in my opinion, I would be stepping up again and looking at some of these other deals that we have ahead of us. And this leads me into the next deal, which is for $700,000 in Logan City Council. And I grew up in Logan, and people think the whole council is very rough, but there are some good pockets. Now, this is a 4-bedroom house on a massive block, and you can see the home is brick veneer and a tiled roof. The property is located on a 1,032 square meter block and is listed as a 4-bedroom, 1-bathroom home with no carport or no car space. The deal sold for $700,000 on the 28th of July 2025, and this is the kind of deal that I would spend my money on. Bigger block, bigger land size, bigger home, more upside potential for redevelopment down the track, even if you don't realize that development potential yourself. And you can see it's white inside, light, white and bright, very simple and basic for a renter. And that's the kind of deal that I would put in my property portfolio. Now, the reason I didn't buy this deal myself is there is some compromise with the location. This block itself doesn't have a flood overlay, but the street leading into the block does, which means if you do have a flood down the track, you could end up on your own oasis, hanging out on your house and on your block while people are in the dinghies and tinnies driving around you. And so you've got to be very wary when these deals are more affordable at this $700,000 price point, is does it have that flood overlay? And is that going to limit the future value or the future potential of the property? In saying all that, there are other deals out in Logan that are still sub 700K where you can get the land size, you can get flood free, and you can get the upside potential. So this is a council that I'll be keeping an eye on if I had this $700,000 budget. Which leads me into our next council, which is Ipswich, which is the council that I've personally bought 2 properties in the last few months. Now, what do you get for a $700,000 price point in Ipswich? As you can see by the photos, it's a very pretty looking cottage, a fully renovated kitchen, upgraded appliances, big back shed with a patio over the top. Hopefully they throw the trampoline in there as well. It's a nice little renovated cottage. So this property is a 2-bedroom, 1-bathroom home on 759 square meters. It sold for $700,000 on the 5th of August and is located at 188 Glebe Road in Bouval. Hopefully I said that right if you're from Ipswich, because I've said that wrong in the past. But this property is the kind of deal where it is renovated, it is nice. If you're a first home buyer, or some investors would buy this style of deal where it's a nicer home. Yes, it's only a 2-bedder, but it's on 760 square meters. It's got drivable side access. You could add a secondary dwelling down the track. There's some upside potential there. In my opinion, I'd probably personally rather buy something with 3 bedrooms and maybe a bit uglier inside for say $675 or $660. And that's exactly what I bought with my own deals. So after seeing the options across 6 councils here in Southeast Queensland, you might be asking yourself, where would I buy? Where should you buy? And the truth is that it does depend on your plan. Personally, I've focused on deals which prioritize the land and the location first, which is why with my money and a $700,000 budget, I'd be looking in Logan or Ipswich or maybe Moreton Bay if I could creep into that area in that budget, but it is becoming more difficult because I want to be buying based on the land and location. So ideally 500, 600 square meter blocks plus, and then assets that are in reasonable condition, and at a minimum, a 3-bedroom, 1-bathroom home would be ideal. You might be looking at the market right now and feeling that it is pretty tough out there and there's a lot of growth ahead for these affordable price points. And if you're feeling stuck or looking for someone to help you along the journey, then head over to purposeproperty.com.au to book in a free chat with myself where we can discuss you buying your next property here in Southeast Queensland. There are lots of opportunities out there. You just have to know where to find those deals. And if you want to see me break down my 2 most recent property purchases and the exact numbers and the addresses of those deals, then make sure you give this video a click over here to see the full breakdown. I'll see you in that video right here. All right, peace.